Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now, guys? We've finished the third little furlong, the third little period of the season as we jet off into yet another international break. We've defeated Kilmarnock at Rugby Park by 2-0 in a game where we have faced more shots than we have in the last 10 years, which is quite the statistic, it must be said. And with Brendan Rodgers naming basically a full strength 11 with a few minor changes to the team that beat Leipzig on Tuesday night. This is a game that really was not on the cards, a game that was not in the script. Although Kilmarnock are opponents that we never take lightly and do always give absolutely everything in this match, this was a much harder job. This was a much harder game than Celtic had bargained for. In the video today, we're going to look at exactly what Kilmarnock did so well that made the afternoon so difficult for Celtic, as well as how we managed to persevere to go and actually get the result to bring the 3 points home so that we remain top of the table at the latest international break. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We are a whisker away from 10,000 subscribers, boys and girls, and we cannot get there without your support. There's been some amazing support for the content here on the channel with your comments and shares and retweets and all that good stuff over the last few weeks, and sincerely from the bottom of our heart, everyone here at the Celts are here, we thank you in advance for doing so. We are kicking into an international break, so there'll be some more scheduled content, some more kind of topic based videos coming out throughout that period. So if you do enjoy this video, you like to see this sort of content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, of course, like I mentioned, and get into the comment section and let me know what your big takeaway is from Rugby Park this weekend. And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, because there's not too many controversial items in this game, to be honest with you. It's just much more of a what we've seen and what we learned sort of exercise. Liam Scales and Austin Trusty started this game at centre back, as me and McBride expected. If you caught the Thursday night stream or the little Friday cut of the release that we put out there, I don't know if you'd say it was a team projection or a prediction, but we like to just kind of put ourselves in the shoes of the manager and try and look at the squad and try and think reasonably and rationally about who would be selected in what positions, and we basically got the whole thing right. Alongside the experience, and I was about to say evergreen Greg Taylor, but we'll get on to his performance today. Alistair Johnston and Kasper Schmeichel being the obvious picks here to fill out the defence. And with the other major change being Adam Ida, depending on what you want to say, coming in to replace Kyogo. Much of the changes were somewhat expected. Maybe the Taylor Valley thing was a bit of a coin toss for a lot of people, with us knowing that Trusty and Carter Vickers weren't in training on Friday, and with the artificial pitch, we all kind of suspected that Carter Vickers would be rested and rotated for this game. But we kept the first choice, the best 11 midfield in this game. And to be quite honest with you, when I seen this team set up, I was really hoping that we were going to start the game really, really quickly, get into Kilmarnock's face and try and get some shots away for Big Ida in the first 10 or 15 minutes or so, get control of the game, and then it would be business as usual for us in the SPFL and the Scottish Premiership. But that's not really the way the game panned out so much, because Kilmarnock, like Kilmarnock, St Mirren, there's been a few teams, Dundee, there's been a few teams over the last couple of years that don't just like try and have a game with us, right? But they actually have a very deliberate plan of attack exclusively for the game that they have with us. It's not like, it's something similar that you'd see them do against like them or Hearts or anything, or Aberdeen or whatever. It's very much looking at who we are, the players we have, and where the spaces and opportunities might come for them. And in terms of what Kilmarnock did well in this match, it's kind of double folded, or the two sides of the one coin, with the mistakes that we made or the regression that we maybe had a little bit in the tactical system here, because every time we were looking to play out from the back, if it wasn't like super deep and we were in our own box, it would kind of look something like this. But very often in the first half, we've seen McGregor over the last game or two have 2 players left and right of him when our defence has had the ball coming out of it. But today against Kilmarnock, there was quite often 3 players that were very much on that last line of midfield, ready to jump onto the defence depending on where the ball went, and if anyone had a bit of a bad first touch, or if someone dwelled on the ball for too long. With there always been a 4th person really not too far away, depending on what side of the pitch that we're looking at, to just go on and support and make it really difficult. Because of this, we were in our own half a lot more for much longer periods of time than what we are typically used to. You've seen Big Vassell and Watkins and Kennedy all in their own different areas physically turn our team into a bit of a man for man, defensive outfit, and ultimately made the game a bit of a game of 2 halves. And what I mean by that is more on the pitch rather than first half and second half, because Kilmarnock were always quite happy to maybe have a 5th man jump into this half here and just make the build out from us a lot more difficult, as long as they had their back 4 to contend with our front 3. And then you've got the spare man in the back 4 against the front 3, and your kind of hangover midfielder to maybe deal with someone like Hatate or Engels, depending on, again, what side of the pitch and whoever's kind of free. So it was a very brave plan, because to do this, if you get caught out of position, if you do fall asleep, then you do leave us plenty of space to go forth and attack. And really, like, this was something that Kilmarnock did really well. It wasn't necessarily that it was a really aggressive press and we couldn't get out of our 18 yards or whatever, but it was just generally getting out of our half with sustained levels of possession just wasn't on. And for me, Kilmarnock were really allowed to do this because we kind of regressed into the old midfield dynamic that we've seen earlier this season when Arne Engels has first come into the team. And really, Hatate, McGregor and Engels in big periods of this match could not have been further apart. And generally we like to do this in an effort to try and rip a team in half across the pitch, and we like to switch the play from left to right, and McGregor will be in the middle and just controlling everything as just so. But because they are going to deliberately put more players in our half to make that a lot more difficult, if they do stay focused, if they do stay switched on, and if we don't complete 2 or 3 passes in a row, which quite often we didn't, I was really disappointed in the amount of actual connected passes we got in a row from defence into midfield and progressing it forward into attack, then you will very quickly be able to turn and run and get on the ball and fill some bodies into the box as well, because you'll have support close by and get some shots away. And whether it was Kennedy down on the left, whether there was any of the guys in the centre of the pitch like Lyons, Donnelly or Watson really kind of hustling and bustling and turning the ball over, you did feel that Vassell and Watkins really did get a lot more touches on the ball than normal. And like I mentioned in the intro, Kilmarnock came out of this game with more shots on target against Celtic than any other team has domestically over the last 10 years. And I was really, I don't know if I'd say I was upset, but I got a bit disconnected from this match after a while watching it, because we just couldn't get connected with any of our different players. And this game was just really crying out. We did see Hatate, as usual, go box to box up and down the pitch, and you know, he definitely didn't have his best game here, sadly. Nothing that he really tried, sadly, came off. And yeah, he would come back in and fill next to McGregor on occasion, don't get me wrong. But for me, this game was crying out for us to just take it for what it is. Forget it's Kilmarnock, forget that it's Celtic, forget that it's the Premiership. Imagine this is, like we've done for the last couple of games, you know, this is an elite team that we're playing against, whether it be like an Aberdeen in the league or in the Cup, or whether we're playing Champions League, and these are the problems they're giving us. How do we come across them? And I'd have just liked to have seen Engels getting a lot deeper into this game when we were building out from the back and just be a bit better in possession. Sadly, Engels is not immune from a bad pass, immune from a bad decision just yet. And I get why you might want to just leave him into a little bit more space in case that error kind of costs you, if that makes sense. But I do feel that this extra body into the middle here, alongside the inverted Taylor and McGregor, would have just made things a lot easier for us to kind of, you know, nullify this plan that Kilmarnock had, and ultimately just make sure that we strung a few more passes together ourselves. But as you've seen throughout this game, like with some of the long shots that were getting taken by Adam Ida, by Dyson Maeda, I just feel that when we did break out, especially in the first half, whether it was Ida driving from the halfway line or Dyson Maeda or Hatate, it could have been any one of these guys, we'd still have got a really bad mentality, in my opinion, domestically in the league, when we're at 0-0, of still wanting to be the glory hunter, still wanting to be the guy that takes the shot, that scores the goal and makes the difference. And we don't have, you know, this amazing selfless team ethic in these types of situations. And we spoke about it last week with Dundee when we played midweek. Like in the first minute, Dundee could have went 1-0 up, and in this game, for the longest period when it was 0-0, Kilmarnock had every opportunity to actually go and take the lead in this match. And it boils my blood no end when it is 0-0, the game still is in the balance. It's the opening stages of a match, particularly the first half, and we're getting into really dangerous positions and just not making sure we hit the back of the net, we square it off for someone else for a tap in, or we just take that extra pass to make sure someone better in a better position, maybe a cut back at the edge of the box, you know, from this type of area here or whatever, they get the shot away, you know. But the best thing for the team, putting the team above individual glory, as it were. Because with the amount of men that Kilmarnock were committing to making it hard for us to play out, there is undoubtedly space for us to play into. And because we weren't able to really connect our midfield up very well enough, we were never then really setting our forwards up to have, you know, a good attack period, to actually break into space and to have some runners into some good areas for some good deliveries, for some good crosses and cutbacks. It must be said, all the Kilmarnock defenders, I thought, put in a great shift man for man. You know, they made some great decisions, when to block, when to actually just take a foul. And again, I think their shape that they had, they're kind of 5 in the defensive half, they're 5 in the offensive half, they were so switched on, they were really clever with it that it made it extra difficult for us. And you did feel that some of our players were kind of happy to maybe just go through the motions, got caught in possession a little bit. Whenever they were running into space to collect a loose ball, maybe they just wouldn't think that a Kilmarnock player would still be challenging them, and they were. And maybe that's a little bit of a Euro hangover that came into not changing up more of the team, maybe not changing up one of the midfielders. And Adam Ida, like for me, this is the game that you're buying Adam Ida for. You're buying him for these tough away games, especially after we've had a fixture pile up. You've had that big important game in Europe, and you know that, yeah, you might need to play a little bit quicker. You might need to play the ball from this type of area here into a striker that's going to be able to beat his man 1v1 and be able to take a shot away. Or if we do get it into the byline, we can maybe put some height on it, and then we've got a guy that can challenge centre backs and challenge goalkeepers in the air to put it away. But these opportunities never really came anywhere near as often as it really should have. And for me, a big part of that was like the lack of connectivity that we had in midfield. The threat that we had from Kennedy, Watkins, Vassell, like we really didn't see much of Alistair Johnson in this game. It might be because he was running on, his batteries might be pretty low. We did see Anthony Ralston come into this game later in the match, of course. But when you've not got Johnson giving you that extra width up here, when Taylor has a bit of an off day, I really did feel this game came a little bit too soon for Taylor. He clearly looked like fit and available and all the rest of it, but he didn't look sharp, he didn't look energetic, and he didn't look like his free-flowing self in this inverted fullback position where he could pop up in different zones to be that overloading player and just give us extra strength and extra options in the final third. So with Taylor being a bit muted, rather surprised Valley didn't appear in this game off the back of what I've seen from Taylor today. And with Johnson not being as quite swashbuckling, as quite free-flowing on his ice skates up and down the line, it then just puts more pressure on Engels and Tate to create something. McGregor, if he is going to drive through the middle as well, because those fullbacks are big routes to go for us, and if they're not turning up, who is? And the goal from Callum McGregor right on the stroke of half-time really couldn't have came at a better moment. And Adam Ida, like Chris Boyd said it after the match, and I echo the sentiment, but him not scoring that really did epitomise his first half display and really his match performance overall. I forget if it was the first or the second half, but Rio Hatate plays in a lovely ball from this sort of position here into him, and he just, I don't know if he blinks or I don't know what, he closes his eyes or something, I don't know what happens, but he kind of goes for it, then doesn't, and it ends up kind of trickling out. So Adam Ida is definitely missed an opportunity here to further push Kyogo, because Kyogo didn't score in this game when he came on either. He's not been in free slow and form, and really for us the centre forward position now does look a little bit worrying that none of them are on form at the moment. We're not worried about their ability or their talent level or anything like that, but when you're not getting goals from your striker, where else are they coming from? And in this game, we get a lucky goal to open the scoring from Callum McGregor. It's a good ball into a good area. And, on another day, that just goes out for a goal kick or something. It's very lucky that it does go in. But we take that and we go in at half-time. And I would have thought, like I mentioned earlier, that Rodgers would have maybe just got into the rear a little bit. Calm down, Engels. And just tried to shore this up a little bit more and just make it a lot harder for them to get into our defensive half with numbers, make it a lot more threatening in terms of there's just a much higher chance that we are going to play around them, and then we've got the space to play into with the attackers. But no, that never really happened. We kind of just tried to carry on as we were. Big shift for McGregor, Hatate and Engels in the midfield. They have to change their striker at half time for Cameron, which I kind of missed that until we were kind of halfway through the first half. It just kind of, where's that Vassell lad? And then you realise he's been subbed off. It was one of those games where it constantly felt like nothing was happening, which is just, it feels like kind of typical Scottish football sometimes when you see that. But on the 63rd minute, we bring in Bernardo for Engels, which was a much needed change to get a bit of extra impetus in this midfield. Someone that's going to get tight to Donnelly and Watson and Lyons, these guys, make it really hard for them to get out of their half, make it really hard for them to play the passes that they were playing. And equally, when we're on possession, be a lot more resilient to the press and just be a lot tougher to kind of push about, as it were. And I thought the energy that Kyogo really put into this match, because being 1-0 up, they do need to continue their plan to go forth and attack and try and get a goal, try and get back into this game, of course. And Kyogo's threatening nature in this one, the pace, the desire to get the goal and all the rest of it, just kept them on tenterhooks that little bit longer, where they couldn't overly commit, they couldn't really do much to really change the game up, and just gave us extra legs, extra threat in through the middle here. But again, when Kyogo comes on, he gets a good couple of chances where he's got the ball in at his feet, takes lots of touches round about the two centre backs, closing them down to try and get the shot away, when your good pal Daisen Maeda is hanging about there begging for a square ball for a tap in. And like I said, in the first half, we've seen this with some of them. It continued very much in the second half with Daisen, Kyogo and Kuhn all being very selfish with one another in this game. I do think the ball that Johnson plays that sets Kuhn away on his run, like, Kuhn has to be, as soon as he gets into this position here and he's on his left foot, he has to be taking a shot here. I would not be expecting him to, well, maybe you could expect him to cross it, but the form he's in, I don't think so. So I think he's always going to be taking that shot on, but it's good that Dyson and Kyogo are getting into those areas. But sadly, these opportunities never presented themselves often enough, because more often than not, if Kuhn's getting into these positions, he's probably squaring it off for Ida, for Dyson, for Kyogo, whoever, to get those tap-ins. But what this goal was for me, I called out for this a lot in Jota's last season at Celtic, but this was Kuhn taking the game by the scruff of the neck and saying, I'm putting us over the edge here. I'm making sure that we come out of this with the 3 points. They're huffing and puffing and trying to kick in the door. Give me the ball and I'll give us daylight in the result. I'll go and put us further ahead. And he just had that desire. He was just on the front foot and he was just going to one place and one place only, and that was the back of the net. And that's the difference. That's like proper top end quality in the final third. We don't see that from Dyson. We don't get that from Kyogo. As much as they've got desire, great running power, average dribbling ability, decent finishing probability for the most part for both of them as well. Kuhn's qualities and his desire and his actual execution that we're seeing from him over the last couple of games is absolutely next level. And I really do think without Kuhn grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck like that, like he did, I'm not sure where the second goal would have came from. Right after that goal, we make a double sub. Ralston comes on for Alistair Johnson and Forrest comes on for Kuhn. And, nothing really changes at this point, to be quite honest with you. I'm surprised that Tati's still on the pitch. I thought he would have been subbed off by this stage, and you really did feel that he was running on empty. And again, I don't think he played badly in this game, but he just never had any of his moments come off. Any of his balls he played through just had nobody on the end of them. But I would have thought at that moment, when we did bring on Forrest and Ralston, bringing on McKeown at that stage would have just been probably just right. There's maybe a little bit of pressure removed from that fifth substitution because Kuhn does get the second goal there. And then eventually in the latter stages of the game, as they kind of ring in all 5 substitutions, really throwing the kitchen sink at it, trying to just get a goal back into the game, make the last 10 minutes, the last 5 minutes as tense as possible. We do eventually bring McKeown in, and really a bit of the zest and the pep that Bernardo and McKeown give us in the final stages of the match, we could have done with a little bit earlier in this match. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm quite surprised in the second half that Valley didn't come in for Taylor even at one point, because it did just feel that we were running in quicksand sometimes, and it felt like all over the pitch, all stages of the game, everyone was 1v1 with somebody at some point, all over the place, all over the match. There was no sustained period where we got, like even when we normally try and do these little triangle things out in the wide areas, we've sucked 3 or 4 players over here, which is fine, but then it will result in some other area of the pitch we've got an extra body breaking into the box, or we managed to feed the striker as a result of it, and it just never happened really, so it was a good job by Kilmarnock really isolating every player across the pitch and really making it tough for us to build up and make it really tough for us to play. Gary Mackay-Steven was really funny to see come on in this game. All he did was foul when he came on, which was, I thought, pretty funny. But when Ralston comes on and Forrest, we're just like, hey guys, let's just get the game finished. Let's get to 90 minutes and then let's get up the road, and it's international break time. Some of the guys will have a break, some of them won't. And ultimately that's how the game finished, 2-0 at the end. And really, Kuhn was brilliant for his goal. He looked quite adventurous in some moments. Hatate looked to be quite lively in certain moments. McGregor, Trusty, Scales all put in a solid performance. But easily, everyone's man of the match in this game was Kasper Schmeichel. The man was an absolute wall and a cat all at the same time in this game. His performance today was rated 88.4 out of 100, making 6 saves, 5 of them from inside the box. He's made a punch, a diving save as well. And the big man was absolutely the best version of himself possible today. 9 missed passes, but he made 38 accurate passes. 13 of them went long up the pitch as well. And he won possession back for us once. He won 2 duels as well, which was really funny with his little, he's got a one contest. He's won his dribble with whoever that was pressing him, where he drops the shoulder, lets the ball go through his legs and all the rest of it. And, normally it's players like Kuhn, Rio Hatate, Dyson Maeda, Jota or whatever that get these kind of statistics, but big Kasper Schmeichel, 88.4. I'm so glad he got the clean sheet, because even if we won this game 2-1, he would have probably still been man of the match and we'd all be still singing his praises and all the rest of it. But getting the clean sheet is job done. Firmly, I did say this was the job of Adam Idah matches of today, and it firmly was not job done by him at all. His performance rated in at 36.5 out of 100, and he done very, very little. He's got 1 big chance missed, 2 attempted assists. He did make a big chance for someone else in this game, with 1 shot on target. 3 duels won, but lost 8 duels in the game. Lost possession 18 times. 7 of that was a missed pass. 1 foul against him, drawn 1 foul. I just thought he was really, really poor today. And these are the sort of games, like I mentioned earlier, that he has to be a member of the squad for us to be a contributing first team player for. And I think, it was definitely not a good day at the office for old Adamida. Maybe the nose break or the nosebleed or whatever maybe stifled his judgment a little bit, flight of the ball and all that kind of thing, but hard to say. Dyson Maeda gave away 5 fouls in this game, got booked. He had a pretty anonymous game, lost 10 duels, only won 3, 2 missed passes, and a couple of entries into the box, won a few dribbles himself, but very nondescript from old Dyson. Could have done a little bit better to actually make something happen. Nicholas Kuhn, the most impressive outfield player, 82 out of 100. He did have a big chance missed for himself, but he won 3 dribbles, 2 shots on target, 7 balls into the box with an attempted assist, which is great. He won 5 of his duels, losing 3 on top. And only 20 accurate passes. Kuhn was just not on the ball often enough in this game at all. 12 of those passes in the final third. He did miss 7 of them. He's won a tackle, he's made an effective clearance, he's contributed defensively yet again. And again, from Dyson Maeda, very similar to Rio Hatate, where it was just nothing really happened. He's made a foul, he's been booked as well. He's won a couple of tackles, made a few effective clearances, but with 4 duels won and 4 duels lost, it kind of nets itself out at 0. Only 35 accurate passes, but he's missed 10 on top of that, so there just really wasn't much to write home about on this one for him. It's almost an exact copy and paste for Arne Engels as well. Just very nondescript. Yeah, clearance, a block. Duels won and lost is pretty poor. 23 passes, 10 of them missed as well. So it'd be 33 passes, but he's made 23 and 10 were missed. 5 balls into the box from the corners he's taken. Just pretty meh. Absolutely nothing happened. A bit more distinct from McGregor, but who obviously gets his quite fortunate goal, which would have been an assist if Engels had got something on the end of it. But 2 blocks, 5 effective clearances. He's won a tackle as well. The duel won and lost, but again, Celtic have lost duels all over the pitch to Kilmarnock in this game. And McGregor normally is clocking 60, 70, 80 passes a match in these types of matches. Only 44 in this game. 6 of them were missed. He lost possession 13 times. 2 balls into the box, 2 shots on target. I don't know if we're counting that goal as a shot on target. Hatate lost possession 17 times. McGregor 13. Arne Engels 16. The midfield today was just not on it at all. And then we've got what seems to be becoming a bit of a normal day at the office for Alistair Johnson. Another assist for that ball for Kuhn for his goal to make it 2-0. And then, an 81 out of 100 performance on top of that. Fouled once and gave away a foul. 1 effective clearance. Not much actual defensive contribution here for Johnson, but he's won 3 duels, only lost 1. Again, 7 possession loss for him, only 48 accurate passes. We've just been very minimal here compared to what we normally are. 1 big chance created, 2 balls into the box. A lot of Alistair Johnson's ratings here come from the passes he did make into the final third, accurate long balls up the pitch and long passes into the opposition. He was trying to get the ball out from back to front quite quickly, and it turns out on the statistics maybe missing out midfield a little bit more than some of his teammates. Trusty was really solid in this game. I think he's very unlucky to get booked in this one, sadly, but 6 effective clearances, 2 1 tackles, 3 blocks is absolute man mountain stuff. He's won 6 duels, he's only lost 2, 1 interception, 73 accurate passes for the big man, only 3 of them going missing, only 3 possession lost. Big Trusty was so good today. And Scales wasn't too bad either, but he had an error led to shot, which probably holds him back a little bit, as well as that foul that he's committed. But 10 effective clearances for Scaldini, a block and a blocked cross as well. 12 possession lost, 11 duels won, having lost 3, 69 accurate passes for him, and some good forward, long, accurate passing as well. So yeah, pretty decent shift for old Scales. And Taylor, had a decent game on the statistics, you might say, but I think actually watching him on the day, he didn't look his usual sharp self, but he was fouled 4 times, which is quite useful in a match like this. Lost possession 18 times, 46 accurate passes, 12 missed passes as well, as 11 accurate final third passing. A bit of a mixed bag from him on the statistics. 2 attempted assists, 2 balls into the box. So, yeah. And then look at this. Out of all the subs, Ralston gets 17 minutes, Kyogo got 27, Forrest gets 16, Bernardo got 27, Luke McKeown got 5, and he got a better match rating than every one of them. He had an attempted assist, 2 balls into the box. He also won 2 duels without losing any. Did lose possession a couple of times, 1 missed pass, a few accurate final third passes, and he was fouled twice. Good energy when he came on. But anyway, Job done, 3 points in the bag, a clean sheet as well, and decent enough level amount of positives from the likes of Kuhn, AJ, McGregor, maybe one or two others like Trusty and Schmeichel, of course. And now we go into the international break where a lot of our players will be flying around Europe and around the world to represent their countries. We cross our fingers and toes they don't get hurt, they come back just as good as a condition they're in the now. We wish them the best of luck, of course. And we've got a lot of members of the squad that will be at Lennoxtown in Glasgow, maybe going to the Isle of Iona or whatever, get recharging the batteries and getting ready to go again after this latest international break before what Brendan Rodgers called in the post-match press conference the next ultra marathon, where the fixtures are going to be coming thick and fast in all competitions between now all the way through the festive period as well. And international breaks on this channel means we're going to be looking at the squad, we're going to look at the Champions League, we're going to look at some different topics, some different things that have happened to the squad, different questions that we're all talking about and asking the Celtic fans all around the world from what we've seen from the domestic dominance, the European progression, Brendan's quest for a treble, the transfer policy, Paul Tisdale in the building, the Celtic B team, all the stuff that's been sloshing around over the last couple of months. We'll have a bunch of videos out on the channel touching on a wide range of topics. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see that stuff as well, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you get notified about all the uploads as soon as they happen. On screen are now some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Don't forget to get into the comment section and let me know your big takeaways on this game. Hit the like button, of course. Hail, hail, and on the hoops.